Hello Sonoma County, welcome to the Sonoma County Master Gardeners, and we'd like to remind you that it's time to start seeds.
Check out our many resources, the Sonoma County Master Gardener website, our YouTube offerings, our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Hello, this is Helen. I'm from the Sonoma Master Gardeners, and today I'm going to talk about seed starting. The basics of seed starting, plus a little bit of how to care for your seedlings once you get started. So why sow from seed? That's a big question. Well, one of the real reasons is there are hundreds of opportunities for different varieties via catalogues, via seed, far more than you'll ever find in a nursery. So that can be a great place to start. You can get varieties that are not to be found in your local nursery. You can plant stuff that is not normal to your area, maybe, and see if it will grow. One of the things to bear in mind when choosing your seeds is how they're going to grow within your region, and whether or not they're going to mature in time for you to harvest whatever you're growing. There you would refer to a planting calendar. So one of the reasons you might sow seeds as opposed to plant stuff in the garden would be that you need to grow them in an environment to get them ready to plant outside before outside conditions are right. You can choose many different utensils to grow things in. You can use your old nursery 6-packs. You could use toilet rolls, or little pots, or bigger trays. These are often good for smaller seeds, which tend to be much harder to scatter into little pots. There are biodegradable pots, which means you can grow your plant in the pot and then plant it in the garden without ever disturbing the roots. Once you've selected your planting utensil, then the next step is to select the medium by which you're going to plant it. And there are lots of choices, but what you really want to choose is a seeding mix. Seeds do not need a lot of nutrients. You also want it to be sterile, so you're not introducing pathogens into your plants that might inhibit their growth. Seed starting mixes come in special setup. They're normally very light and fluffy when you get them. You add water just to make them moist like a damp sponge, and they will get heavier and they will hold water much longer than other regular soil. You can also use coir, which is a more sustainable version of planting mixes. This will be a little heavier, and you add water to it to make it plantable. So once you've got your seeds and you know what you're going to plant, then the one thing you want to do is look on the back of the packet and find out the planting directions. That will give you the idea of how deep to plant those seeds. The rule of thumb is the bigger the seed, the deeper you are going to plant it. Though bear in mind, some seeds have special requirements. Some need light to germinate. Some need darkness. Some also need something called cold stratification, which means that they need to be frosted to trigger that seed into growth. So it's worth doing a little research before you start growing those seeds. So how do you plant your seed? Well, you get your container that you're going to grow in, you fill it with soil, don't pack it in. It needs to be light and fluffy for those seed roots to take and to grow through. You make your hole to whatever depth you're going to need it, and then getting hold of your seed. I of course have picked a nice big one so that it's easy for me. You just take your seed, pop it into the hole, cover it up, and then water. Now, as this is a big seed, I'm just going to water it from the top because that's the easy way to do it. But with smaller seeds, you would want to fill a tray with water and then let the water soak up through the seeds so you don't disturb them while you're watering, while they're growing. Otherwise you might find when they start growing that they've all moved to the one side of the pot. So once they've started, they're wet, nicely wet, then you might cover them for a period of time with a cover. This helps maintain moisture and humidity around the seeds while they are germinating. It's often quite important that seeds stay moist while they're germinating. Once they've germinated, you can then choose to either remove the cover and let them grow, or leave it on for a little while if your environment is very dry. And that's Seed Starting 101.
Hello, my name is Kim Martin. I'm with Sonoma County Master Gardeners, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about, so you planted some seeds, how do you take care of them at home, indoors? So one of the things you want to do is give your seeds a warm, bright environment. So to do that, one thing you might consider is using a heat map. Now, a heat map, it's not a heating pad. It's a special tool that's water resistant, and you place it underneath your seeds. And what that does is it provides heat to the soil, it speeds germination, and you get results faster. You also need to provide your plants water every so often, and so you'll look to see, are they getting it? Does the top of the soil look light? When freshly watered, the soil should look kind of like a dark brown. You want to hold on to your container to see, has it become light in weight? And when it needs to be watered, one way to water it is to place it in a tray where you've put a couple of inches of water. Let that sit for 20 minutes or so, and you're good to go. We've talked a little bit about having this indoor, but just to emphasize that you want a frost-protected environment. So it can be done in an outdoor shed, but just make sure on cold nights that shed stays above 32 degrees. So let's talk about light. So plants need bright, full spectrum light. And this means that you need to provide them what they might experience in nature. So artificial light is probably your best bet. And here's a couple of low-cost ways to do this. This is a clamp light. Many of you may have this somewhere in your garage. And basically it's a setup where there's a PVC pipe in a jug that's weighted down with, in this case, rocks, but it could be sand, so it's heavy, it's not going anywhere, and you clamp your light onto it. And the nice thing about it is that you can raise or lower the light. So as your plants get taller or shorter, you can just adjust, where your light source is. So that's a very inexpensive option that many will be able to, may even have that around the house. Now this is a grow light from a kit. It's basically a type of a shop light, but this has a special tube that's generating that bright, full spectrum light that your plants will need. So when you go to select your lighting, you want to make sure that there's certain attributes that you get. So brightness is measured in lumens. You want to look for something that's 2,000 to 3,000 lumens. And the full spectrum is measured in Kelvin, so you're looking for 4,500 to 6,500 Kelvin. And then once you've provided your lights, you want to keep it on for 14 up to 18 hours a day. So to do that, you may even want to purchase an inexpensive timer. That's so you don't have to pop out of the bed at 5 in the morning to go turn on your lights. Your timer will take care of that for you. Okay, so now I want to shift gears and talk about feeding plants. When you first start seed, there's enough nutrients in the seed itself for the plant to develop its leaves. But when the second set of leaves occur, you want to start feeding the plants. So they will have exhausted all the nutrients in the seed. So to do that, you're going to take a water-soluble fertilizer, and you want to make sure that you're diluting this. So this particular fertilizer has a 16-16-16 nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. That's way too much. That's like Thanksgiving dinner to a toddler. So you want to take this down to about 1/4 strength. But anything lower than 555. If you find a water soluble that's under 555, great, use it. But otherwise, make sure that you dilute it. So when you go to feed your plant, you're just going to mix up your fertilizer, add it to your tray, and just set your seedling in there like you were normally watering. Let it sit for 20-30 minutes, and then it's fed. So that's care and feeding of your seedlings.